folks, leg stretches. Just quick, easy leg stretches. I've done this video before, but I literally talked for about 10 minutes before we got going. The stretches themselves just about take 10 minutes. So grab your strap or equivalent, lie down on your mat. We're going to stretch legs. No pain in this. Just feeling of length and extension. These really, really popular stretches. And if you do them every day, you'll feel the benefit. So we're going to lie down. There's lots of ways of getting into the legs, but lying down is the best way to just focus on the one thing that you're doing. Take your strap, have it ready by your hand. Knees bent. Let's just start by taking the arms out wide. We're not doing wipers, we're just doing a little bit of softening into the hip joints. Just rock the knees gently from side to side, nothing major. You can see my hips, lower back, they're all moving. So just rock, just keep rocking, knees gently from side to side. We're not trying to get down to the ground. We're not doing anything extravagant. Little massage for the lower back. Then, for a few breaths, just soften this and allow the knees to move. Try and keep your back reasonably still, not massively still, but just start to exhale as you lower your knees over. You see there's a little bit of movement, but less movement in the hips here. So just feel the thigh bones moving in the acetabulum, in the hip joint. Femur moving around in this cup that is a hip joint. Take the legs out a little wider and allow the knees to lower as far as they'll go. Just gently draw the left hip down. So the knees have gone over to the right, the left hip comes down just a little bit. It's still lifted, but just a bit. A couple of deep breaths. Just let everything go. You can allow your body weight to soften. So everything we do for these stretches, they're just releases. Really, really nourishing for the muscles, releasing tension. We're just going to take care of our joints in the hips while we're at it. Lower the knees over, then to the left. So you can inhale to center and then lower the knees over to the left. Hips rolling a little bit, but not massively. Of course, if you're in my classes, you know, if you want to turn your head in the opposite direction to the knees, you're welcome to. It's a choice. It depends on how your neck's feeling, what sort of mood you're in. Let it go. Come to center. We're going to bring the knees in towards the chest. Hands resting lightly on the knees and roll. Just have a little rock and roll. Any freestyle movement that feels good. Turn that into some gentle hip circles, rolling the knees out and then in. So we don't want to make these too arduous. That's a light stretch for the hips done. If you like these hip stretches, you just take your arms behind, your hands behind your thighs, have a little stretch and go a little wider. If you want to go a little deeper, you can after the leg stretches. So this is as far as we're going to go on hips for now. Obviously, you can't really stretch your legs without the hips. So I'm going to put the left foot on the floor, stick the right leg up in the air, grab your strap or equivalent, as long as it's not stretchy, it doesn't matter what it is. Put the strap around the ball of the foot, not the arch. Take it in the hands, make sure that the shoulders and the upper body and everything's nice and relaxed. And just make sure that your leg is basically straight. You know, I can see myself here on the screen, so I've got a sense of the angle of my leg. You need to either check, if you've got a camera, you can check your screen. If you've got Zoom, you can switch it on and have a look. Otherwise, leg in the air, heel pressing up, toes pressing back. And just a reminder, there's no pain in these stretches. My leg is straight because I'm fairly flexible, which is something that has its ups and downs. Most people need to keep bending their knees here. So what we're looking for, feeling of length through the back of the thigh, feeling of length through the back of the calf, mostly thigh as the heel presses up more. And we're taking care of our knees, ankles, and sitting bones. So sitting bones are buried right in the butt. Those sensations shouldn't be around the knee, the sitting bone, or the ankle. If they are, then you need to put that bend in and soften off the trajectory of this stretch. I go deep because I've got long hamstrings, so it takes quite a lot of work for me to get into them. Some people do have long hamstrings, and it's not a competition, so don't try to act like someone who does. There's no special prize for having a long hamstring. It's not anything, it's not a thing. So feeling of length in the belly of the muscle, the thickest part of the muscle, mostly back of the thigh, hamstring group. There's 3 hamstrings, so you'll feel it all the way across the back of the thigh and in the calf. A little bit of stretch. You've got your bends and softening ins or deepening if you need to. Some people like to lengthen out their opposite leg. For this, more sensation if you do that. We're just going to take some breath synchronized movements. So on an inhale, let's take the leg away from the body slowly. And as you exhale, draw the leg back in. Keep it long, just as far as it goes to get a really good sensation. So I just felt that lovely sensation in the back of my leg. And then inhale forward and exhale back. So when you do these leg stretches, and you won't always need the video is optional once you know what you're doing. You can do all moving, you can do all static for more intensity, or you can do a combination of the two, which most people enjoy best. So this is probably about 4 rounds. I'm going to hold for about 4 more breaths. So that first few breaths where I was talking to you is just the time you need to get your mind into your legs. So you really want to be with the sensation of these stretches. And those first beats when you're sticking your leg in the air and strapping it up and checking where the sensation is and do you need to bend the knee and all that stuff. You're going to do that every time you do these kind of stretches, because some days you're more open than others. This goes for everybody. Sometimes I lie down on my mat and these stretches, I need to bend the knee quite deeply. I need to soften in because I can feel that strong pulling around my knee normally. Sometimes, I mean, it's quite surprising today, considering I did Pilates this morning and I walked 10 miles in London yesterday, I'm kind of shocked at how bending my hamstrings are. Must have just really stretched them out quite nicely in Pilates. Okay. When you're ready, on an exhale, we're going to take the leg across the body. We're going to keep both those hips down to the best of our ability. Inhale to center and exhale out to the side. So we're going to do about 4 reps of this. Don't try and force your legs at all. It's a small movement for most people. Both hips need to stay down as best you can. Exhaling into the extension. So always exhaling as the leg goes over to the side, inhaling to center, exhaling over to the other side. When your leg is open, out to the right, the inner thigh and the groin, get that sensation. These should be safe, moderate. They can be strong, but moderate sensations. Strong but moderate. What do I mean? I mean there's never any pain, there's never any pulling or tugging around the joints. When the leg goes across the body, it's the outer thigh and the IT band, outside the thigh. It's a different sensation. Most people, you're in the region of 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock, or 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock on the clock face with this movement. As you take tension out of the muscles, some people increase their mobility. As you strengthen up your hips and your legs, if you're doing strengthening work, you will increase your mobility. It's a little known thing that increased strength will increase mobility as well. When you're ready, next time the leg goes across the body, just hold it there and breathe. As many breaths as feels good for you. When you're ready, we'll come to center. And on an exhale, take the leg out to the side. 3, 4, 5 breaths, whatever feels good for you. Just keep your shoulders down, keep the hips on the ground, both of them. When you take your leg out to the side, it's heavy and it's going to want to pull you over. So you're going to have to work a little bit hard to keep the left hip down. The first priority is to stretch in the groin and the inner thigh. In some classes, I'm fairly lenient, and as long as you're getting that stretch, I don't mind if you roll. In other classes, I feel it's quite important to keep that left hip down because it teaches discipline and it builds some strength in the core as you pull back. It's good for your upper body strength, it's good for your hands, it's good for your arms. So there are times when, you know, you just let it go as long as you're getting what you need. There are times when you work harder. Majority of the time, most of us need the discipline. So when you do this stretch, go to discipline first and see how that works for you psychologically, physically. All right, that leg is done. Let's unstrap it. Pull the right knee in towards the chest. You can keep the left leg bent, or you can stretch it out. Weave your hands around the back of the thigh or the front of around the shin. And then squeeze the knee up towards the armpit. And here you can stay and just compress that hip joint. If you just want these stretches, if you want to intensify, you can slightly bring your left leg to a hover, point both toes back, and exhale for a few little curl ups. Scoop your belly in as you bring your forehead towards your knee. Inhale to come down. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale down. Last one. Exhale to squeeze. Inhale down. You can do that with the leg, left leg bent, hovering, stretched out, whatever. Switch sides. So right foot flat on the floor. Left leg sticks up in the air. Don't expect things to be the same. So we're going to go through that same little process of gauging, few breaths of stillness-ish, just to gauge what the situation is with the left leg. Strap goes around the ball of the foot. Right foot flat on the floor, knee bent, or you can lengthen it out. Even people with long hamstrings, I recommend the knee stays bent. Just a reminder, it's not a competition. And if it were, it'd be a really stupid competition, let's be honest. So if you find yourself competing with people on the internet for how flexible you are, just take a minute to consider what the point in that is. Right, leg in the air. Hint, there is no point. There is no point. Same goes for body size, strength, all of these things. Just do what works for your body and push. Just push yourself a little bit harder. Have a bit more discipline. No pain, just don't be afraid of putting some effort into strengthening and lengthening your muscles. So back of the thigh, back of the calf, get this just right. So my left and right side is always different. There's less movement in my left side. Check if you need a bend in the knee, how firmly you're pointing the leg up. And when you're ready, just keep breathing all the way through. Inhale, let's take the left leg away. Upper body is resting. Exhale to draw the leg in. This one is also bendier than usual. It's very strange. Exhale, draw in. Inhale back. Maybe it's because I had a nice day off yesterday. Just having a nice time gallivanting. Let's have two more. That'll probably be about the same as the other side. This is all we do. So once you've done this a few times, if you've never done it before, that's it. You don't need a video to show you how to do these. Coming back to center. If you would like to carry on moving, obviously you can. For some people, movement is what is needed, especially if you're very tight. Sometimes movement's what's needed. Combination, stillness, whatever, any version of having your legs stuck up in the air to stretch out the backs of the legs. So left leg, what's happening here? You can draw the leg in. It's good to do this stuff with the eyes closed, actually. You can really just settle into sensation. So we got just a few nice breaths to see what's happening. I've got some I've learned a lot of interesting things from doing these sort of practices. My really quite imbalanced between my left and right sides, like most people, but it's really useful to learn what those imbalances are so you can start to just maybe draw some more equilibrium towards the body, strengthening. When you're ready, on an exhale, we'll go out to the side. Remember, hips stay down, across the body, IT band, out of thigh. Inhale to center, exhale, out to the side. Right hip stays down. See that very little movement there. Inhale to center, exhale over. You might have to use both hands for your strap because this leg is heavy. Legs are heavy. I've got a really uncomfortable knot that sits around the back of my left hip, right near my sacrum. Don't like it. It feels really weird when I move. We're just going to roll a little bit more. When you're ready, next time the leg is out to the side, you can hold it there. You can do all these stretches held. With these side-to-side ones, I've got to be honest, I would normally recommend a little bit of movement. Sometimes in the more heating classes with strength work, we just go straight in. We do strong stretches, we drop straight into the body. But actually, if you really want to release tension, it's a good idea to go side to side. So it doesn't really matter which order you do it in. I've taken my leg open. I wouldn't normally do it this way around. I'd get the IT band done first, so across the body. Doesn't matter, you just breathe, stretch out that leg. I hope, if you're looking at the screen and watching this movement, you shouldn't be copying the movement that I'm doing. You should be following the range of your own body. So your right hip stays down, your left leg is going across or out from the body. And most people is 1 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock, or 2 o'clock, 10 o'clock on the clock face. When you're ready, inhale to center and take your leg across the other way. Hips stay on the ground. Doesn't matter how far your leg goes. All of these stretches, it's about sensation in the leg. So when the leg goes across the body, it's outer edge of the thigh, IT band. When the leg opens out to the side, it's inner thigh groin. And you never try and force your foot all the way across the ground. Doesn't matter what you see on the screen. There's a reason we talk so much, yoga teachers, some of us don't talk enough, should say more, talk more about anatomy. You're not trying to get your leg on the floor. Just a good stretch. When you're ready, come back to center. That leg is done, unstrap it. You can move your strap away unless you think you might need it again. Squeeze your left knee in towards your chest and then take it out towards the armpit. If you want to, you can lengthen out the right leg. So always make space for these movements. You can use a strap. Doesn't matter how big or small you are, how big or small your belly is. If you're taking your leg out to the side, then there is space for that movement. If you're lacking in space, if you feel tight and compressed, you can use your strap still around the ball of the foot to gently draw that knee to wherever it will get to. Doesn't have to be a huge compressive movement. What we're looking for is sensation in the hip joint. I have not yet met anyone who can't get their knee out to the side. If you're lying on the ground like this, chances are you can get their knee out. Optional, pull up those 2 sets of toes. Optional, hover the right leg. There's some strength work. Optional, curl-ups. Exhale, scoop the belly in and round. Forehead to knee, they probably won't meet. Inhale down. And you don't have to scoop the belly in even. You might just want some nice little curves of the spine. Relax the shoulders when you come up. So these are just swift. That's why I'm keeping a little sense of momentum with all of these movements. It's just so that you can lie down and treat it like business. Just get it done. If you want to be soothed by it, absolutely, they're very soothing stretches. When you've had your 3 or 4 curl-ups, let's bring the right knee in as well. So you can have another hug and roll if that's what you like. If you can go quite tightly in, so you might like to hug as tightly as you can hug and roll, you can still use your strap for all of these. You can use strap around the shins to draw the knees in. If you fancy it, if you feel like you're ready for it, a little bit of happy baby. So legs go up in the air. You can have your hands behind your thighs and draw the knees out wide. Have a rock. If you like other variations, hands behind the thighs, around the shins, ankles, knees come around the rib cage, outer edges of the feet. Lately, I always used to be an outer edges of the feet person, and it does feel nice. Lately, I like to weave my peace fingers around toes, have a rock from side to side, get those knees hugging around the hip, the rib cage to the best of your ability. When people first start practicing, sometimes for a very long time, this is more like a sort of a this. If your head is off the ground, if your shoulders are off the ground, then you should have your hands behind your thighs and you can leave your feet just dangling. They don't need to be all the way up here like this. In time, it will come. So if you're just rolling from side to side, if you want to use your strap for happy baby, let me show you. If you really want to get into this deep compression, it's nice. It's a bit like being inverted. Your feet are in a V shape, not a very, very big V shape, just a medium-sized V shape, with the strap around the balls of the feet, and then you draw strap down, bend the knees, press the balls of the feet into the strap, and that is your happy baby there. And a lot of people develop into happy baby from that, and they rarely keep the strap for very long. Doesn't matter if you do, to be honest, but anyway. Last options is to lengthen out. Start to lengthen out those legs. These are quite strong, so if you didn't fully stretch out, or if you've got tightness, more long-term tightness in your legs, or if your arms are short compared to your legs, which mine are, but for some reason, for some inexplicable reason, I'm quite bendy today. So we're going to maybe lengthen out those legs, and some people can draw the toes right back as far as you want, but remember, no pain near the joints. This is not, we're not working joints, we're kneading out muscles. So I love this. This is feeling really good today. This, I don't really see anyone doing this in class. I'm putting it out there just in case. So when you're ready, legs come back together, knees come back together. One last little hug and a roll. And you can finish up however you want. You can have maybe 3 little rolls back and forward along the length of the spine. Some people love these. They're really popular. Roll back, roll forward, come up to seated. Maybe have a little wiggle of the shoulders. I think the reality of the situation is that there is only so quickly you can well stretch out your legs, like really properly stretch out your legs. But we're done. What was that, maybe 20 minutes? Legs, hips, with optional happy babies. Sorted. So hopefully that all feels nice. Enjoy. Have a lovely day.